Today we're talking about how the INFJ can use their hypersensitivity to their advantage. So being hypersensitive, being an empath is not something that only INFJs have access to, but it comes out in different ways, right? For us INFJs, it comes out in understanding, feeling, reading other people's energy, and there's absolutely nothing esoteric about it. It's being aware if somebody's angry, being aware if somebody's carrying shame with them or grief. These are the typical things. And very often when we're around people, we can tell that they're not really tapping into their potential, that they're really suffering in a lot of ways, and you feel like, why don't you see all of the beauty, all of the amazing qualities that you bring to the table? Why are you being stuck on all of those negative emotions? If you could just let go of them, if you could just allow yourself to see yourself from my perspective, you would just love yourself. And that is one of our biggest qualities. But very often we as INFJs feel like this can also be our detriment, and on top of it, it feels like we have no other choice. Quick announcement, guys, the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp is launching this Saturday, so you get access to the early bird price if you book within the first 48 hours, so make sure to sign up for the waiting list. If you're still unsure if this is for you or if this is for you right now, definitely check out the masterclass. It's free, it's on YouTube. It will also be happening this Saturday, and if you want to know more about the bootcamp, just check everything out. All the information you find in the links in the description. How often has it happened that you walk into a room and there's an angry person and you feel like you're getting all of that energy? You're feeling it, you're absorbing it, and there's no other way. And it really, really upsets us because it can ruin our entire day. And I have talked to so many INFJs throughout the years. This is probably one of the things where every single INFJ will agree with me that this is something we experience on a daily basis. But what I've learned throughout the years is that we can definitely change that. We can definitely use this power that we have in a different way. So we cannot stop being hypersensitive. We cannot stop being an empath, but we can definitely choose which energy we're going to absorb. And if you think about it, you're already doing it because most of us don't have 10 million friends. We pick and choose people that we feel like we can have a very deep connection with. So therefore, yeah, it's okay for us to absorb so much of their energy, but we're getting so much back, or it's such a deep connection. It just gives us a lot. But we have to understand that we are also doing things out of a codependent tendency. This is a natural thing, and every single person does this in a different way. For us, it's like those dynamics. It's really understanding what am I maybe doing, not only because I want to help, but also because I feel like that will give me a way in. It will give me a validation for being in that relationship, in that friendship, to being in that dynamic. Quick reminder, if you haven't done this so far, then download the free poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ Epic Life so you can start taking action today in creating the life you always wanted to live. So how often, and I mean like really be honest with yourself, how many of your relationships, and again, I'm not talking just about like romantic relationships, I'm talking about friends, I'm talking about family dynamics, people at work, how often is that relationship based on I actually give more to that person than the person is giving to me? And this is definitely something that other people are not aware of. That's like the funny thing about it. We always go through life thinking, well, it's so obvious, I'm giving so much to them. And then one situation happens that shows you, no, that person never thought that they owed you anything. We all have experienced this. And then the question arises, okay, so are people just not thankful enough? Is it that we're too good? Is it that we're giving? We're martyrs? And also, we don't have another choice. We're empaths. We're highly sensitive people. Well, let's really look at what's going on. First off, yes, we have that gift of being able to spot what's going on with people. And because we can do that, we very often feel we have to do it because there's no one else who could do it. We see people suffering, we feel it so deeply, and then of course we have to react. But think about it one step further. Think about the fact that we react because we feel it. There are people around us suffering on all kinds of levels that we're not aware of. We suffer when we feel that person going through these things. And we feel them in those particular situations where it's about, okay, that person is going through emotions, they're projecting their emotions, I can feel them, it hurts me, I want to do something about it. So that's the first thing to understand, that yes, you have the capacity to it. Yes, it's an incredible gift. But thirdly, that we do it because we feel like, what's going to happen if I don't do it? I'm going to feel like a bad person. That person is going to reject me somehow. I mean, think about it. You're in a relationship with that person. Again, we're not talking about romantic in particular. Let's say a friendship. Okay, it's perfectly fine for you to be friends with a person who actually even needs your help, that's totally fine. But it's not okay for you to just look after your own agenda, thinking that you should give just as much as the other person, not a little bit more, that it should be equal. That for some reason wouldn't be okay. The other person then would have no reason to be friends with you. Think about it. How often have we felt like this? I know I have felt like this before I started my whole evolution and process and transformation, and from time to time I still walk into these situations and I have to adjust. So how can we change this? How can we actually use this hypersensitivity, this empath quality, to our advantage? How can we use it in such a capacity that we actually thrive through it and the people around us? Well, the first thing to understand is that no person can be helped unless they want to participate in their own growth. There is no way. You cannot save somebody who doesn't want to acknowledge their pain, who doesn't want to see that you're a mentor, that you're helping that person. They are not even aware of it. They feel like all the sacrifices that you're doing, that's just who you are. They're not aware of it. How could they, when you since the beginning have been focused on how they're doing? They barely know anything about you. Everything that you are to them is what you can do for them. So stop blaming yourself for this. Stop thinking that there is something amazing about it. Either know that you can do this, but understand that, again, if that person is not aware of what you're doing, if that person is not looking at you as a mentor, as a coach, as somebody who's guiding them through them, but they look at you as a friend who is on their eye level, they will not be able to make anything happen. The best way to help them is to actually be an inspiration. So you make sure you're good. You make sure that you put your energy into your things. And if you do that, then you will see people saying, oh, please help me. Or they say, oh, I see that you're doing so many things for yourself. I'm now going to pick up myself and do the things for myself. That's an incredibly important distinction to make, that these are two different things. Very often you go to your friend and you say, take care of yourself, value yourself more, put yourself first. You have so much to offer. That's what you're saying. But what are you doing? You're actually showing that person, don't value yourself, value your friend. Don't focus on making your life better, focus on making somebody else's life better. See, people are not learning from what we're saying. People are learning from what we're doing. And in that case, we have actually decided to put somebody else first, to say my friendship is only then valid if I give more than I'm getting back. So that's the first realization we have to make, that this is what's going on. The second thing is to then ask ourselves, okay, now I understood I need to change those dynamics. I'm going to look at my work relationships. I'm going to look at all my dynamics with my family members, maybe with my romantic relationships, or the person that I'm always choosing. Maybe that's always a person that I feel like I can pick up, those kind of things. And once you take this into consideration, you absorb this and you understood this, then it's the time to say, okay, how can I change this? How am I able to switch off the fact that I can understand them so well? Well, again, you're already doing this with so many people. So in the beginning, it will feel harsh. It would feel like you're a bad person. You're dropping your friends. You're not focusing on making them feel good. You're just being selfish, although it's so easy for you to help. But remember, there is no such thing of now you're being a good friend, now you're not being a good friend. I mean, think about it. I always like to use a really extreme example of an abusive relationship. The person who's codependent in that situation, who, for example, even is in a physically abusive relationship, because then it gets really obvious, still thinks, oh, it's my fault. I should help them more. They came home and had such a bad day, and I had the audacity to talk about something that made me mad. Of course they lash out. What a bad person am I? What a bad partner am I, or friend, that I'm not helping them, although I have so much more energy to give. See what's happening there? That person in that moment feels like if they would act like a normal, healthy person, that would actually make them feel like a horrible, really neglectful, just heartless beast. If somebody would tell them, just leave that person. They don't need your help. You need to take care of yourself. And you might also say to yourself, oh, I would feel so bad without that person. But the story we're telling ourselves, and the story that that person is also telling themselves, is they can't do it without me. They need me. If I let them go, if I just drop them, what kind of a monster am I? So there is no such thing as now you know you're right or now you know you're wrong. You just have to think about, if I want to create a new balance for myself, myself, a new benchmark where I feel it's totally okay to give in a friendship, a relationship, or whatever it is, as much as I'm getting back, I need to first put a boundary in. I have to cut that person off to such an extent that I'm not aware of all of their emotional stuff. I'm not asking about certain things. I'm not being open for them putting all of their emotional garbage onto us, things that they've been used to all their life or all of the time they've known us. That is the first thing. And again, trust me, you can do this. I know it will make you feel bad, but it's possible. And the great thing about this is you can experiment. Yes, from time to time you might say, okay, now I went too far. Now I was really selfish. I wasn't considering that other person's emotions at all, and it was completely inappropriate and totally mean. Well, it can happen. Then you went overboard. But sometimes you need to go overboard in order to find out where your new normal is, where that point is where you feel comfortable. But if you're not willing to go too far, how will you find this balance? Because if you go too far one time, guess what? You apologize, you say you're sorry, you make amends, and things can be okay again. You're human. You're allowed to make mistakes. Your friends are allowed to make mistakes. You forgive them. In your mind, you already have a story of why they exploded that much. Something was wrong with them. They were suffering. You always have an explanation for them. It's time you have an explanation for yourself as well, and you forgive yourself and you move on and you find the right balance. So once you've also done the second step, the first step was to recognize that this is not on equal grounds, that you deserve friendships that are on equal grounds or any other relationships, and then to kind of make that cut. Because once you do this, you have excess energy. See, being hypersensitive, being an empath is not something you can lose, but you can choose who and what you're going to direct it to. Again, you're already doing it, but now it's time to be even more strict with that. To say, no, I'm not going to use my gift to give it to friends and people in my surroundings. First off, because there's always some kind of codependency going on, and we're most of the time not able to make really rational decisions. That's why I don't coach friends. I know that these things always get blurred. You want to use your gifts in such a way where the boundaries are clear, where people are aware that you are a mentor, you're somebody who helps them, you're somebody who picks them up, you're somebody who uses these qualities of yours as your gift, and you're giving it to others. They're aware of it, and they're giving it just as much value as you decide. You want to get to a point where you share your gifts in such a way that there's a win-win situation, and that includes that you give value to what you have to offer. You say, if I do this, then you will give me that. And to stop feeling like you're doing something bad, sometimes it could be acknowledgement, that you say, okay, I'm giving something, and the other person acknowledges that I'm doing that. It could be that you say, okay, I'm using it at my work, to say, I'm going to use this with my coworkers, I'm going to use this with my boss, with my clients. Like, I'm going to use it in such a way that makes people comfortable, and therefore I get compensated. How does it make you feel if I say that? Doesn't it feel horrible? Doesn't it feel like, oh, okay, so I'm supposed to give my love or my care like some kind of value, like it's just a commodity? If you have these emotions, then it's a great sign that you're undervaluing what you have to give. See, others are good enough to be your friends just by being an interesting person. That's not enough for you to be friends with somebody. You have to actually give so much. Remember, this is a gift that you have, and it's worth something. And we're not just talking about money here. We're talking about that it has value. It has value. It is something to be respected. It is something to be nourished. It is something to be appreciated. And the only way people are going to appreciate it and going to give it value is if you give it value. If you say, I have those qualities, I want to help people, but I'm not going to give it to people who don't appreciate it and who actually keep on taking from me until I'm completely depleted. We've all done this. Why do we do this? Because on a subconscious level, we want others to acknowledge what we're doing without us being the ones who say this is worth something. But it doesn't work this way. We have to give it value. We have to say what I have to offer is worth something. It's worth being appreciated. It's worth being respected. It's worth being valued. We have to do that. And whoever doesn't want to give us that value, again, this isn't necessarily a financial thing. It's an energy thing. It's about you saying this has value and I want you to acknowledge it. This is extremely important. And once you start this process, as painful as it may seem in the beginning, it will lead you to new adventures. It will lead you to more strength. It will lead you to creating a life where you continuously grow, where you don't get depleted and you actually get to help people and they appreciate you for it. It's an amazing feeling, and guess what? You deserve it. Guys, remember, if you want more help with this process, if you're ready for the next step, then join the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp. The waiting list is open now. Our next round launches in the end of October, so sign up. All the links are in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video on why INFJs are first admired and then ghosted. Believe it or not, there's a lot of correlation here.